Alright, Bant Lotus Fields. This was originally a Saffron Olive deck that we played through, and it generated some good games of Magic, so someone asked if we could run it back, and I said almost assuredly. This deck's got a number of really cute interactions in it. To start with, we've got our deck's namesake card here, Lotus Field. So, enters tapped, taps for 3 mana. When it enters play, you have to sacrifice 2 lands. So, we abuse this card in a couple of ways. The first is simply with Kiora here. So they can go ahead and untap Lotus Field to generate 3 mana. So her down tick generates 3 mana with Field out. Then we have Brought Back, which chooses 2 target permanents in our graveyard that were put there this turn and returns them to play. So if you play white lands on turns 1 and 2, float double white, play Lotus Field, sack those lands, then you can Brought Back those 2 lands, so you can have 6 mana going into turn 4. You can also Tail's End to counter your Lotus Field enters play trigger to ramp up. And Tail's End countering our own triggers can also be adorable with Uro, because you can Tail's End Uro sacrificing himself if you play him from hand with 5 mana available. Brought Back's also super adorable with Uro. It's also very reasonable with Kiora, Best the Sea God, because this is a permanent, so you can use Brought Back to return your Saga to play after it goes through all of its chapters, in case the first time through is not enough to kill them. Got a bunch of cards on the sideboard for the aggressive and control matchups. This deck was a hoot and generated some sweet games last time we played it. Hopefully it does so again today. Let's dive on in with it and see how it goes. It's got a lot of really sweet small synergies in it. This is fine on the play. It's technically turn 4 Wrath against an aggro deck, right? Sweet memes are made of these. Who am I to disagree? Travel the world and the 7 seas. Everybody memeing for something. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Basic mountain, you say? Hey, what's going on, Striker Droid? Happy Monday. Alright, so we do this, and we hope to get to untap with her.
But my friend's kind of a big deal.
My friend's kind of a big deal. That's very good. That means even after I cast this Realm-Cloaked Giant, they're going to get to have 4 power in play. This card is very, very good in their deck. Not only does it combo kill you, not only does it combo kill with Cleave really well, but making the aggro deck resilient to sweepers is a big deal. No, Steamkin's mana ability is what's called a mana ability, which you cannot respond to. It does not use the stack. Torbrain, kill you. Yeah, Deckmaster was finally updated. I think I'm still going to go ahead and fork the project just because every set release has been issues with it, so I'd like to have control over it in case there's an issue again in the future, but at least we don't have to rush to get it done now, since this one has it for at least the time being. So we have 10 mana available next turn, but we don't have a whole lot of useful stuff to do with it, unfortunately. Good chance we don't get it next turn as well here. Ember Cleaver, Torbland both kill us. Yeah, the aggro deck's being combo decks. It really is combo winter, isn't it? I hadn't thought about that. But even standard is kind of just littered with combo decks at the moment. There's Ember Cleave, there's Vanafear. I love Polarium who makes raid. Just noticed they had downtime that I didn't notice, but I got a 5-star check. Yeah, anytime their servers have any sort of hiccup zigs, they give people a bunch of stuff just because. Which is weird. It's almost like they understand they should be very liberal with giving out in-game free stuff because it doesn't really cost them anything and it makes their players happy. Wizard of the Coast, if you're out there, you should take notes. Alright, so I want all of this interaction. I feel like I probably want less of this. Do I want any of these? Maybe this is just the go-over-the-top piece I don't need. We'll leave these in as my go-over-the-top cards. So what's the right balance then? I think formats where combo is alt... What's a good example? GRN Standard, where we had decks like Esper Amulet that existed, but they weren't the best thing to be doing in the format. When you saw them happen, they were novel, they were Johnny popping off with something really sweet. It wasn't like, sigh, this is my third match against combo in a row. Correct, Frantic. I think Wizards frequently falls on the wrong side of that balance. I think Wizards of the Coast likely could stand to make more money by giving players more freebies. I don't think they're anywhere close to the level of giving too much and hurting themselves on possible return. Hey, Mustfall Casting, 23 months is a long time. Thanks for keeping me around. I think I just go ahead and stick Lovestruck Beast here. This is protection from white, so my token can't block it. Yep. The Murpher Show, thanks for the 18 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. I think I do this to start, see where we go from here. I think I'm shocking these in to hold up Gust. Cat Tree Dream Car, thank you for the 12 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Get your sword to go with that shield. Thanks for the entire year of support. Yep. Taking 9 here, down to 9. So, like, Gust means we don't die to cleave this turn, but, like, we probably die to cleave next turn, right? Pre-recorded stuff is definitely more convenient when you're a parent. That's definitely true. Easier. Having a pause button is ideal. And, like, this card's just so good. Like, the sweeper isn't even good here, right? Like, I sweep and they have 4 cards. Just kill me with Embercleave still next turn. Yeah, that. Last time we played this, I was concerned this could happen. I don't know that we can meaningfully make this deck better against red. Maybe it involves a bunch of Thrashing Brontodons. Is that something I want to do? Yeah, I probably want some Thrashy boys. I don't know. I'm gonna try 4 Brontodons and see if that can help it. I don't think a deck that's just cold to red is playable on the ladder at the moment. So I think if the plan is punt the red matchup, I just don't want to play the deck. So let's try and make a small change here that's good in a few different places. And if it still feels helpless after a match or two, we'll just shelve this one and move on to the next. Brontodon. Brontodon's one of the better cards against red, for sure. I think it's worth trying a few and see how it goes. I think Sultai Control is very reasonable. There's a Sultai Control deck up on my website that I think has a fine red matchup. That's one of the fair decks I really like in this format as a whole. Knight of Autumn's is worse than Brontodon against red because Knight of Autumn kills Embercleave at sorcery speed. And it's very important that you're able to kill Embercleave before it kills you. Hushbringer's a cute idea. I've been playing Sultai Control, but keep losing to Team Iraq. Any suggestions? Be luckier? I don't know. You should have plenty of tools to keep the reclamations off the table, right? I guess that archetype plays Hydroid Krasis. I could see Krasis giving you a hard time, perhaps. I literally responded to your YouTube comment telling you no. Do you need me to repeat myself again, Wargy? Do you need me to say no again, that Shieldbreaker is shitty, and that do you need me to repeat what I just said again about Thrashing Brontodon being key because it acts at instant speed? Like, you frequently don't survive the first Embercleave hit. You need cards that can kill it before it kills you. It also, like, in addition to having responded to your YouTube comment, it's like also just repeating the same thing I just said about the other recommendation that was made. Again, think critically. Think about what I'm saying and think about how it applies to other recommendations you could make. We're just trimming around the edges and pulling down a little bit. Trying to meet them at the bottom. Sure. think I'm gonna play this and fetch white. So that way I can play this next turn, or if we draw brought back, we could do that. I'd recommend making your first 6-star Beansy someone who can farm. Because having a unit that can farm Brutal will make it easier to get other 6 stars. I don't know that I agree with your conclusion there, Bumsbum. Against a traditional mono red deck, I would agree that the shock lands really hurt, but these red decks aren't traditional red. They're combo decks. These red decks don't kill you by inches. They kill you by miles with Embercleave and Torbrand. So, like, the difference between having +4 life often doesn't matter, because usually when you lose by a lot. Substitute for Pelucradas. Close your eyes and pick a card at random. Something else that's a threat. Another Ashiok, an Ugin maybe. They don't all play Infuriate. I think I play around a +2 here. It could be a shock. They could also have Embercleave. If they have a shock, they could cleave me. This is their turn 3, right? We could have died there, right? They could have gone shock plus cleave, and that would have been 8 more. Maybe it would have been close. Hey, DOSX, thanks for the half a year of support. I appreciate that. Welcome back. And then I'm still a turn off a sweep in here, right? And we're like pretty dead on board. Am I literally just dead on board? I can go block, take 6. Okay, technically not dead on board. Dead to a stiff breeze, but technically not dead on board. Thanks for the entire year of support, Chase. Let's get you a sword to go with that shield. Thanks for keeping me around. Sure. I think Cosmotronic Wave is very reasonable. That's why I left it in the Girl Adventure sideboard. I think it's good for breaking board stalls that can happen on occasion. Alright, let's try one more. If we get smoked by Mono Red one more time, I'm going to shelve this one. Alright, so we're hoping to draw a white source on turn 2. So we can Lotus Field with brought back on 3. Would settle for any land, but ideally we want a white source on 2. So Realm-Cloaked Giant has the upside of being a threat that we can cast later too in our ramp deck. I agree the difference between 4 and 5 is big though. This is peak Lotus Field, yeah. Yeah, it is. feels magic, man. Plowed through Platinum with green-white enchantments from your site. Thanks for making us better players. Hey, thanks for the support, Jezin. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I agree that that list has been sweet. Realm-Cloak's probably not super useful here. Guess I can leave in one Thrashy Boy. That's true. They could think it's a mirror match. You often talk about how cards are not good or bad in a vacuum and the power level is contextual, and also how some cards are individually good or weak. So individually good or weak cards are individually good or weak in the context of the format that they're being played. Like, both those things are true. So what I mean by when I say a card is individually powerful, I don't mean it's objectively powerful outside of the format. I mean that it's a card that's good in the format without other cards to support it up. So cards that are synergy cards, cards that need other cards alongside them to make them good, are good examples of cards that are not individually powerful. A good metric that you can use in kind of an objective manner to tell if a card's objectively powerful or not is cards that are individually powerful. Cards that are individually powerful are going to appear in more deck lists, whereas cards that have more niche use are only going to appear in specific subsets of decks that are able to leverage the other accompanying things around them that make them good. All right, Wargy, if you're gonna ask questions, please listen to my response. Like, you just asked that and I already responded to you. Stop it. Like, I want to draw my card here. I also, don't mind getting cards in my bin. So, I think I just take the opportunity to dispute their dispute here. I don't really care if they play a Teferi out next turn because, my hand doesn't have any more counterspells in it. That, the fact that they plus that there makes the land a perfect draw. Haste. I tend to like black as my favorite color in Magic, just because black tends to mid-range the best of all the colors, I think. I think overall, if you had me pick a guild pair, I think black-green is probably my preferred guild pairing. So, replaces himself here. No names as of yet, Justin. We had a leftover list of names from when Declan was born, but those are obviously all boy names, right? Chrissy shot down a bunch of really bad Magic-related names I offered up over the weekend, so... Chat asked over the weekend how much to name the kid, and I don't know that Christy's gonna go for that one. I did tell her, I always jokingly poke at her that her name's spelled the wrong way, because there's 6 different ways to spell Christy. I was like, we could name her Christy, but spelled the right way. Shit, I don't think she appreciated that one, though. A year's worth of childcare. Maybe she'd go for that one. I'm doing swell. Life is wonderful. Hitting land drops isn't a decent name. Esper, middle name Missed Land Drops. Not so good. That's unfortunate while we sit here and hold this. Synth Strike, thanks for the brand new Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome to Hoaglandia. Little Miss Land Drops, we call her Esper for short. I got away with naming my daughter Liliana Nicole. That's great. All right, so the good news is I think I just take this opportunity to cantrip my brought back here. The kids were really funny. We told Jake and Declan over the weekend too. And Jacob was like, "Oh, I love my new baby sister." And then Christy looked at Declan and was like, "Declan, do you love your new baby sister?" And Declan goes, "I don't know, I have to meet her first." And I was like, oh, Declan. All right, that's not bad. Think we lead on this with the Lotus Field. Maybe it's just right to play this and slam them. Yeah, let's just slam them. Let's not make gender jokes in my chat. Thanks. Oh, I forgot to play this. Yeah, I should have played this out. We don't have any brought-backs in our deck anyways. What's going on, Smoke? Thanks for the 5 months. Welcome back. Oh yeah, we asked the kids what we should name her, and Jacob calls Declan brother all the time, so his recommendation was naming her Declan sister. Kids from the mouth of babes, huh? I assume they just name. Oh, they're taking trample off of this. That's real good.
Don't mind if I take my octopus for a walk. Let's get moving.
Let's do this for X's 4 here. It draws 3 cards. Sure, Crunchy, always. Does this mean my planned gaming cave is transitioning to nursery? No, it does not. Still getting the room finished over the things. For people that aren't familiar with where I live the Cornlandia jokes that we make on occasion are because I live in central Illinois where land is fairly cheap. When Christy and I moved at the start of the year, the house we moved into, or the start of last year, the house we moved into is like 3,000 square feet. It's got like the room I'm in right now is the 5th bedroom. Things are, space is very cheap here. Huh? Let's like do this and then untap this and then pass with this up, I think. I think that's the plan. Oh, did I miss lethal? I think I missed lethal a couple of ways. I could have gotten back. Oh, no, wait. This can't activate. That's fine. I maybe could have played and hasted Kenrith, though. I didn't count that. No, I'm still in the basement, Jin. My basement is fully finished except for one room that we're going to turn into the studio. So this is the basement bedroom. Oh, Kenny would have given trample too. Yeah, I totally missed lethal there. Grand the Red, thanks for the 3 months. Welcome back. Thinking about this as a 5-color card because of Lotus Field. Like in my head, this is a Bant card right now. But I totally have red mana. I live in Southern California, where a 1,500 square foot townhouse is considered a steal when the cost hovers around 570K. Yeah. Yeah, for reference, my 3,000 plus square foot home in Central Illinois costs like half of that.
That's more like it.
Well, so that's the thing about not having scheduled ban list updates anymore. If there's an update today, we don't know if it's happening or not happening, right? Yeah. If you have a job that allows you to work remote, 10 out of 10 would recommend the Midwest. Especially cities like Bloomington, where like there's land is cheap, but there's still plenty of stuff to do here. Apparently, I started a standard event when your Teamer's Friends deck, when Oakland once were legal and never finished it, went to play it last night, and it let me play with the cards even though they'd been banned. Yeah, they don't kick you out of constructed events. Crunchy, crunchy, crunchy. Thanks for the big tip. I appreciate it. All right, what are we calling this? Rally Breach. That's adorable. All right. No third land, easy mulligan. Central Illinois is great, minus the Illinois part. That's true. Our property taxes in Illinois are incredibly high. We have legal weed now, though, at least. We got that going for us. I believe there's been no ban list update for today. Historically speaking, if there's a ban list update, it would have happened by now. Have I ever smoked weed? I have not ever smoked marijuana. No. Not a fan. I really like how it smells. Other people who smoke, more power to you. I'm glad it's legal and they're gonna make tax money off of it, but no desire to do it personally. In Seattle, you pay $2K a month for a 475 square foot studio. That's more than my mortgage. Thank goodness this one's hexproof, huh? Get to dodge that dirty little card. So, last scheduled ban list update, they banned scheduled ban list updates, chat. So, scheduled ban list updates don't exist anymore. Need to draw a land, draw another 7-drop. Feels magic, man. So we no longer have scheduled ban list updates. They just happen when they happen. Yeah, for any formats, there are no more scheduled updates. Which, for the record, I think not scheduling updates in advance should hopefully be a net positive for the game. However, if they're not going to utilize it to ban things like Inverter, I don't know what the point was.
Trust me, I have a plan.
So, like, I feel like the point of getting rid of scheduled updates was supposed to be for situations exactly like this one. Yeah, the current standard format's super reasonable. I think there's an argument you could make that, like, mono red's a scotch aggressive, but I think overall the current format is, I don't have any complaints if they leave standard alone. Especially with Worlds coming up, I wouldn't expect any standard changes today. Why does Worlds impact Pioneer, Flem? Worlds is not Pioneer. Five bedroom, 3-bath, 3,000 square foot for 250K. Yeah, that's about the range they're in out here, JW. Depending on how new or old they are. It's very similar pricing to Central Illinois. In my opinion, if they're not going to ban Inverter or anything else, I think they should unban stuff in Pioneer. And that's my worry. Thanks for the biddies, Marty, noted. My worry is that we're gonna get to a spot with Pioneer where it ends up like Modern, in that there's things that are banned and also things that shouldn't be banned. Like, there's things that are banned, but there's also, what's the way? I'm fumbling on the words to say. There's things that are banned that are worse than things that are legal. That's a big problem with the Modern ban list for a while. Think I just passed here. Can I buy a house in Shillings? Shillings have no cash value. Z-Man, thanks for the 10 months of support. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around.
I've got that sinking feeling again.
Yes, the Rally Breach deck in the title is a cut the line. That's why it's not listed in the deck queue. Do I do this now? So that way they don't get extra tokens? I think that's the play. It means this dies without drawing more cards, though. I could shock this in and just Krasis, and that draws 3. I think that's the line. And then hopefully I hit lands and I can play Kiora. Just tell them shillings are cryptocurrency. Lol. Oh, I guess with this draw, I could have untapped this and then brought back her. That could have been fun. Nah, I think Grixis Breach would be fine, Marty. I think it's gonna be a hot second before they do anything about the archetype. And showing folks some more how busted it is fine. Alright, this is my 8/8 that dies to your Ember Cleave. What's going on, Kill Switcher? We got beat up in Pioneer. We beat people up in Historic, and so far that's been going a little bit middling. Deck's not been great against aggressive decks. We're going to 1 here. Untapped land tier is decent because it gives me my 8th mana. Grixis Breach sounds good, Marty. And 8th mana means I can do this for X of 6 and gain 3. Now, the thing I'm worried about is if they have a haste creature that they could also equip to. Alright, so I believe the plan here is steal this, attack you for 6, sweep the board. And this is free.
Right, the ocean surges, life thrives.
How do I die to Bone Crusher? Can you explain? Oh, because it stays. This is not an actual wrath. All right, yeah, I'm off this deck. Always about the details, chat. Always about the details. I'm done. This deck's not good. This deck's kind of cute. Yeah, I know I'm like, we're not guaranteed dead that turn. This deck just doesn't feel reasonable, and I'm not having fun playing it, and I'm gonna go ahead and pivot off of it. We played this last time, and we played against a bunch of different mid-range and control decks, and it felt okay. And against just getting Ember Cleaved constantly, it doesn't really feel like it has good tools to keep up with that. Our overall curve is a little bit chunky. Realm-Cloak being Realm-Cloak and not a real sweeper felt bad. And I think that by the time you like change this deck in ways to make those things better. Alright, I'm just tapping people out that aren't listening to the words I'm saying. By the time you change the things to make this deck better in those matchups, you end up just kind of being a different deck at that point, and one that's not very good. So, I'm going to go ahead and shelve this one. I don't think this is one that I would play a third time through, at least not as long as Mono Red's running around. And again, just to iterate, I'm aware we could get this back. They still have a giant monster that it just cleaves through it and hits us for a bunch. They still have an Ember Cleave in play and other threats that are going to give us a hard time as the game goes on. Yeah, I think like if you want to ramp, you probably want to do other things than this. There's too many moving pieces, too many like individually weak cards, etc. All right, Crunchy had a cut for something else that's kind of adorable. So I'm going to go ahead and hit a quick ad roll and get that imported and set up. And when we get back, we're going to try out a Underworld Breach deck in Standard. So don't go anywhere. Thanks for hanging out today, folks.